Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another Top 10 video. This time I will be counting down my picks for the Top 10 action film stars. Now this list will not include any of these martial arts actors only, such as Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and people like that. I will probably do my own top 10 ranking video for the top 10 martial arts actors in films. So, but this one is just strictly action films, even though one person on this could be considered martial arts, but I will have my explanation of why they're on this list coming up. So, without further ado, let's begin this list. And remember, this is my list. If you don't fully agree with it, that's fine. I mean, it's my list. If you have a different list, include yours down in the comments below. All right, so let's get started with this with number 10. And my number 10 is Brandon Lee. Now, I hate putting Brandon this low, but I absolutely loved him in the only like 4 or 5 films that we got for his career because of his untimely death. So it's, this guy would definitely have been probably my number 1 had he been able to continue on, because I absolutely adored Brandon Lee. And he was different than Bruce because he wasn't just a martial arts actor. He did different types of films. He was what you would call a traditional action star. And I absolutely loved Brandon Lee. It just sucks that he was taken from us far too soon because of his stupid negligence on a set of a film. All right, so let's move on to my number 9. And my number 9 is a guy that wasn't really ever considered to be an action star. And he helped to redefine the action movie star, and that was Bruce Willis. Now, with Die Hard, that, like I said, it redefined what an action film star is, because you didn't have to be the big muscular buff person anymore. It was a normal average guy playing in these kind of films. And it wasn't just Die Hard that made him a really good action star. He had films like Striking Distance and many others on his repertoire of films. And he doesn't go any higher because some of them were not that good, in my opinion. Fifth Element is one of them. You might like it, but I thought it was idiotic. But he had some films like that were not up to snuff, I didn't think. So that's why he's lower on this list than some of these others. All right, so coming in at number 8, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this one, but I don't think he's that great of an actor, and that is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, like I said, Arnold, he is great as far as, he's very charismatic in a way, but it's only with these goofy one-liners and this just having fun with you. And that works in a lot of respects, and that's fine. And my next name on this list kind of does the same thing. Arnold is not the greatest of actors. Now, more recent films that he's done, which he tried to veer away from action, he has showed a little bit more range. But any of his action films back in the day, I mean, you can't say that Arnold Schwarzenegger was a really great action star because of his acting. It was mostly because of his action. So that's why he makes my list this point on it. All right, so coming in at number 7, we have Chuck Norris. Now, I know You might be saying, that's a martial arts star. No, no. The 70s, he was basically a martial arts star. But by the 80s, when he started doing films like Code of Silence and Invasion USA and Lone Wolf McQuade, those were just straight action films. And the Delta Force as well. Those are action films. These are not martial arts films. Yes, he does a little bit of martial arts in those films, but it's not fully a martial arts film like his earlier 70s films and stuff. So that's why I redefined this to be able to include him on this list, because he is great as an action film star. And he's lower and everything because he has that same ability with the charisma, but not really being a great actor like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I think he's just a little bit better with that than Arnold. Now, you might disagree. You might put Arnold a little higher than that, but this is my list. Remember that. But, yeah, Chuck Norris is at number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have Charles Bronson. Now, this is one that I know a lot of people probably wouldn't even think of and put on a list, but he made so many great, excellent action films, from the Death Wish films and into 10 to Midnight, and so many more, that he was just so ingrained into our psyche as this great action star. And even before that, he was great in action films. So he is the epitome of what a really great action star is. And he's kind of similar to Norris and Schwarzenegger, whereas he, is very charismatic, but not really, you wouldn't consider him the greatest of actors, but I think he's a better actor than the other two. So that's why he makes my list a little higher. All right, so coming in at number 5, we have Kurt Russell. Now, I absolutely love Kurt Russell. I've already done a ranking list of his films that I absolutely love, and there were some action films on that list because he has done several action films in his career, and he is just so good, from whether it's Escape from New York, Escape from LA, whether you liked it or hated it, it was still a pretty good action film. And then, Executive Decision, so many great action films that he led that he was excellent in, and even Tango and Cash alongside another name that will come up on this list. So I absolutely love Kurt, and he doesn't make it any higher because there are some better names on this list, I think, than him as an action star. But Kurt Russell is great. All right, so coming in at number 4, and this is another one where I'll probably get a lot of flack from you guys, but this is my list, remember that. And that is Dolph Lundgren. Now, Dolph Lundgren, in my opinion, is so underrated as an action film star. I think, unlike, a lot of these others that did films that were not so great, like Bruce Willis, whether you like Dolph Lundgren as an actor or whatever, most of his films are highly entertaining, and unlike Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chuck Norris, and even Charles Bronson, the man can act. In my opinion, he is one of the most underrated action film stars as far as his acting. He can put emotion and he can put stuff into his performances. So definitely needed to be on this list, and I put him fairly high. All right, so coming in at number 3, now I might get some flack for this one too, but here it is, Sylvester Stallone. Now, I've already done a top 10 list on Sylvester Stallone's films, whether it's his actual films that were big hits for him, or even some of his lesser known films. I've done 2 top 10 lists for Stallone. So I think I focused enough on him as far as that goes, so I don't have to say too much about him in this, but he is a much better actor than a lot of these others on this list, so I had to put him a little bit higher. But I think my 2 and 1 are better than him as far as acting goes, and some of their films are just kick-ass. Now, he might have more than some of these others on this, higher on this list that I have, but I think the acting is much better from these other 2. All right, so let's get to my number 2, and my number 2 is Liam Neeson. I absolutely love Liam Neeson as an actor. He has been in action films, even though he did have that Schindler's List and, you know, critical acclaim for that and everything. And it looked like he was heading toward more highbrow films instead of action style films. He has done so many action films that are really close to my heart, like Dark Man, Next of Kin, so many great action films, and of course the Taken films put him on the map as a really great action star. And after that, you know, he played in so many other action films after Taken, but even before Taken, he was a action fixture. You just didn't know it, probably, because you didn't know who he was at that time. But yeah, Liam Neeson is excellent. I absolutely love Liam Neeson. All right, so let's move on to my number 1, and my number 1 top action film star of all time. And I know this is going to be controversial, but it is Mel Gibson. I don't care about the controversy. It didn't make me change my mind about him. He is still my top and my favorite action film star. Whether it's the Mad Max films, which I still do not like the fact that they decided to replace him in that latest Mad Max film. That was just dirty. I don't think that was right. And, Tom Hardy, I love him, but he did not belong in that film as Mad Max. That should have been Mel Gibson. And, of course, in the Lethal Weapon movies, and then films like Bird on a Wire, and, the list goes on and on of films that he has done in the action genre, and he is just excellent in every film that he does. Even Bloodfather, that was another badass film that I absolutely adore that Mel Gibson did. And so Mel Gibson, definitely my number 1 for the top 10 action stars. But what do you guys think? What is your list? Let me know in those comments down below. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. As a Dark Knight Fan Plus member, you have access to an area on the channel right now where you can request a movie, TV series, or ranking video of your choosing. And when that video goes up, it will go up for all Plus members prior to it going up for all other subscribers. So, if you want to get interactive and help me to get more movies, TV series, or ranking videos on this channel that I might not normally cover, become a Plus member. And if you missed last month's ranking video, check out the link above. And if you missed any of our other ranking videos, check out this playlist and get caught up.